Distance, angles, and levels. Scaring with Sammy. As a scare actor, I like to craft my scares. I feel like an artist, like a Salvador Dali. And so some of our tools are distance, angles, levels, and intensity. And these are not just for options in scaring, but they also go towards safety and pacing considerations. Distance. I think of distance in terms of the guest's ability to react to us. Guests have a reactionary zone. It's further out in front, where they can see things coming, and it gets tighter as it goes back because they cannot see. They don't have as much time to react. Now, some people might call this the intimate space, but for haunting, I like to think of it in terms of reactionary space because the guests get startled, and this is the type of way that they react. They're going to be reacting like this, swinging their arms, and that is their reaction space. So, knowing their reaction space, the safest place for us to be scaring them, well, actually the safest place for us to be scaring them is around 3 blocks down the road, but that's really not the point for haunting. The safest place for us to be scaring them is from outside of that reactionary zone. If I'm coming at them from an angle where they can see me, where they have a little bit more from the front, where they can see me, then I want to be outside of that arm's length. That's outside the reactionary zone. My body would be coming outside of the reactionary zone. So here I am, I'm scaring. I still have the buffer hand up just in case, but my body is outside of that reactionary zone. I can get a lot closer if I'm scaring from a side or the back. From the side of the back, what I'm really worried about is that elbow popping up. And so that is my distance. That's their reactionary zone. So I'm getting a lot closer. So here I am, I'm coming, they're walking away from me, I'm popping out, I'm outside of that reactionary zone. I still have my buffer hand up just in case, just for that elbow, but I'm outside of the reactionary zone. And those are the safest places to be scaring. That's distance. We have a whole range of angles we can use for our scares. There are front scares, back scares, 90 degrees of broadside, 45 degrees this way, 45 degrees this way, and all of the ones in between. There are 2 factors we have to take into consideration. Distance, once again, the reactionary zone of the guest, and the direction of the impact of the scare. For example, if I'm doing a front scare, the guests are coming in and I'm scaring from the front, I have to be aware of my distance outside of the reactionary zone, but also the direction of the impact of my scare is straight back. And if the impact is straight back, the guests might stop or slow down. And if you're pulsing guests through and there's another group behind them, then they might run into each other and then you have a conga line, which isn't fun for anybody. Now, on the other hand, if I am doing a broadside 90 degrees, that's perpendicular to their walking path, and I go out for the scare, the directional impact of the scare is perpendicular to their path, so they're walking, they might move out a little bit, but they're still walking forward. So you're not really interrupting the pacing. 45 degrees, scaring them forward, that's the direction of the impact is forward, and you can get a little bit closer because of where you are with their reactionary zone. 45 degrees this way, it's not straight back, so you're not slowing them down as much, but once again, you have to be aware of your distances. Intensity, the strength of the scare. This is everything from I'm gonna make you drop to the floor to just a quick pop, quick little flinch, quick little pop scare, and everything in between. That's the intensity of the scare. The rule is that the more intense the scare, the greater the drive impact, but also the more time it takes you to recover. For example, if you're doing a front scare, guests are coming and you barrel out at them, they're stopping. The drive impact is straight back, so that's pushing them back. And that means that it's more likely for the next group to catch up with them and you're back in a conga line. Also, if their reaction is to start flailing, you have less time to recover because your forward momentum is strong in that way. So it might be an idea that if you're going to do a front scare, to keep it with a light, less intense scare. Just a little pop out, and that way you're not really interrupting, you're not really driving them back, so you're not really interrupting the pacing as much. Those really intense scares, those are great for 90 degrees scares especially. The broadside, the guests are coming in, boom, I'm barreling out, I'm hitting as many people as possible, as strong as possible, and the drive impact is perpendicular, again, to where they're walking, so it doesn't really affect the pacing as much. Levels. The default appears to be that I'm going to go straight after them eye to eye, but we have so many different levels that we can work with. For example, we can go for a mid, and the guests are walking through and, oh, coming after my crotch. Oh, that's a little disturbing there. We can go for an upper scare. We can try to go over them. Put that hand up there and it gets a little bit of a flinch there. I'll talk about hand flashes at a different time. Now, naturally, if you're going to try to go over a guest and they're 6'4" and you're not, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but you can still get a hand up there. for most guests, and even if you're not on a platform, get an upper scare. You can get a lower scare, going after the feet. Now, two things about going for a lower scare is, first, you can get a lot closer because the reactionary zone is kind of up here. They can't really reach down there. And it's not the most natural thing for people that are walking through to start kicking. I mean, unless they're soccer players. But it's not the most natural thing. So even when you're doing the low scare, you still want to have your buffer hand up, but you can get closer because you have more time to recover and get in, get the scare, and get out. The only other thing about a low scare is that the guests need to know that you're there. So if the guests are walking through and you're doing a thing down there, no matter how amazing it is, if they never find out that you're down there, it's not a scare. So you'll probably have to punctuate it with a noise or a sound or a light or something, just something to draw focus so that the guests are seeing it. There's something there at my feet. So those are the basic levels of scares, and you can mix and match. So I come in and I go for the feet, or starting low and coming up at them. You can change, mix and match and play with levels. Just for fun, let's put some of these together into a scare sequence. This is just an example, this is just for the fun of it. So let's say that I have one scare point. I'm behind a curtain and there are 6 to 8 guests walking by. So first thing I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna do a front scare, but I'm gonna do it a low level front scare going after their feet, and it's gonna be less intense and just really short, quick. So I'm popping out, boom, and I'm back. I was able to get closer because it was a low level, and the first 2 people, they saw me because they have full sight lines. The 2 people behind them knew that something happened, but they probably don't know exactly what. The people behind them, they might know that something happened, but they also really don't know what. Besides, I did my quick little scare, and I'm back, I'm gone. Person 1 and 2 pass by, and 3 and 4, they're there. Now I'm gonna do my big intense scare. I'm gonna barrel out, and this, I'm broadsiding the group. Now, everybody's seen me. I've driven them into the wall, whatever it is. They've all seen me. So 3 and 4 are there, 5 and 6, they all know that that curtain is a scare point, and they know that I came out of it. But because I did my broadside and then I came back, I'm no longer there, they know that I'm there and they're kind of waiting for me to come out again. I've got them anticipating me doing another scare. But instead of coming out the same way, I could come out low, I could come out high, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna confound them a little bit. They're waiting for that scare, so I'm gonna bang that wall. Instead, I'm gonna flip that curtain so that they think that I'm coming out, but I'm not coming out, but they're still gonna be flinching at it. Now 5 and 6, and they're moving past. I'm gonna pop out, and I'm gonna do a diagonal 45-degree forward. And now, because I can get a little bit closer, I'm gonna whisper, I'm gonna do more of a whisper in the air. Or, even better, I'm just gonna reach the hand up so that I can get an upper scare. So those last people, they're walking, and just a little flinch, and that's all it is, and I'm gone. And now if I have time before the next group comes, now I can even charge them and really drive them down that path. So, using distance, angles, levels, and intensity, I've gotten 3, 4, 5 different scares from one scare point on one group. This is crafting the scare. Distance, angles, levels, intensity. Scaring with Sammy.